Hi everyone, welcome to the GoldFish Report. I'm your host Louisa. Today is Wednesday, April 4th, 2019. This is our POTUS press briefs for April 2nd to the 4th. Before we started, I wanted to just read a few things that's going on with the press pool. As we know, some comments that won't probably be in the news releases, but basically there was uh, okay, so military funding and the fight against ISIS, the president said, these are incredible warriors, incredible fighters. So he started the day off talking about, I'm sorry, this was in the evening, actually, probably after dinner. He dismissed reports of an arrest at Mar-a-Lago of a Chinese national and said he was not concerned with espionage efforts there. Everyone has heard already about this Chinese national that was found at Mar-a-Lago with a thumb drive with some sort of, I would say, malware or something, or some kind of, um, nefarious type of device, USBs with probably some kind of tracking or spying devices. So he said he saw the story. He hasn't spoken to anybody about it, but he's very good control down there. The person at the front desk did a very good job, he said. The woman's name is Cindy Yang, who apparently is this Chinese national who was found at Mar-a-Lago trying to, perhaps, it's alleged that there was definitely some kind of uh, concern of what it was she had with her, some various equipment, electronic devices, things of that nature. So interesting. Always, but the president's really well protected and he's always on his toes. So, in terms of, there were some comments from reporters this evening about the Ways and Means Committee asking for 6 years of tax returns, and he's totally not concerned about it. And also, there were some comments about Vice President Biden making a run for the presidency in 2020, and basically, President Trump basically said that he can decide for himself if he's going to run, and offered no other comments other than he wishes him luck. So lots of things going on with the press pool today. And I just wanted to, I don't normally talk about the press pool updates, but those are some little, tidbits that we do get sometimes, that I can share with you. So I'm going to go right to screen sharing the blog, which we always do, to talk about the press briefs. So here we have, this was published for April 2nd. We have Obama Border Patrol Chief perfectly explains our immigration crisis. And so they talked about loopholes that were in the system that were allowing for illegal immigration. As you know, right now they're talking about shutting down the border. This is a big issue. It's a big deal. There were concerns about commerce. I believe I saw Larry Kudlow today talking about whether they were going to keep some lines of traffic open for commerce, for tractor trailers moving commerce and product and things like that, merchandise, whatever. So, and maybe some of the food that we eat. I mean, some of the vegetables, some things that we grow. So lots of times, I'm in my supermarket, it's exported from, product from Mexico, from not China. I don't eat any, I don't eat any fruit from China, but from California. I'm on the East Coast, so it comes all the way across the West Coast, from the West Coast. But a lot of times from, Central American countries, which have a, closer, they're equatorial regions, so they can grow, most of the year. Okay, so anyway, so they're concerned about keeping the trade routes open, which is why they're either going to, close some portions of the border or a majority of the border. We'll see what happens, but they're not decided completely on that yet. Yesterday was World Autism Awareness Day, so that was really very nice. The White House was lit up in blue lights to commemorate that. It was a proclamation that the president had signed, which we shared on Monday on our POTUS report. So Uh, so we'll keep moving along. Again, this is on our blog, and I'm going to scroll this time because I think it's a little bit easier. Here, the president is nominating his intent to nominate and appoint individuals to key administration posts. Allison Heron Lee of Colorado to be Commissioner of Securities and Exchange Commission for a 5-year term. I don't do any analysis of these reports. I just, report what's being published by the White House. We do that mostly in our POTUS reports on Monday, but if it's significant and there's something worth noting, I'll certainly make a comment about if it's something that I can contribute to that. We also have Alma L. Golden of Texas to be Assistant Administrator of the United States Agency for International Development. We have Richard B. Norland of Iowa to be Ambassador Extraordinaire and Plenipotentiary of the United States of America to Libya. I thought we also had, Michelle Bowman of Missouri to be member of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System Community Bank Representative for a 14-year term. That's somebody we're going to want to watch, aren't we? We're going to really want to keep an eye on this person because we really know what the Fed is all about at this point, the Federal Reserve. We have Frederick Nutt of Virginia. Oh, that's an interesting name. Nutt. Okay, to be Assistant Administrator Management at the United States Agency for International Development. I'm sure he got teased a lot as he grew up, so we'll just leave it there. Okay, because this is a very long conversation that was printed, so I'm sorry about the scrolling on this. I would just go up to the link and click on it, but it's far up the page, so either way I have to go through the scrolling of this. This was a meeting today, remarks by President Trump and NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg before bilateral meeting. So this we're talking about, of course, that he's been trying to, they have a good relationship with NATO and they wanted to, continue with that and talk about their progress. So you can go here. So you can see a very long printout of that conversation. Here we have the president announces judicial nominees and United States Marshal nominee. This is great, folks, because when they act on those sealed indictments, we need to have these judges in place who are going to uphold the Constitution. Okay, let's have a yay for the Constitution. Okay. Stephen Grimberg of Georgia to serve as district judge of the U.S. District Court for Northern District of Georgia. Look at that. We have Frank Volk of West Virginia to serve as a district judge on the U.S. District Court for Southern District of West Virginia. Let's get that third circuit pumped up there, President. Randall P. Huff of Wyoming to serve as United States Marshal for the District of Wyoming. So very good. Very happy to see the president, continuing with his nominations in the courts, which he's been doing from the very beginning. We're probably up to about, I don't know, 120, 130 replacements on the courts right now. This is also another long comment. This is a memorandum for the Secretary of Defense. This was yesterday. And for the Attorney General and the Secretary of Commerce and the Secretary of Homeland Security and the Director of Office of Management and Budget and the United States Trade Representative and the Assistant to the President for Economic Policy and the Assistant to the President for Trade and Manufacturing and the Intellectual Property Enforcement Coordinator. And this is talking about combating trafficking and counterfeit and pirated goods. You can go through this. It's very long, folks. It does talk about dangers of it cuts into it's unfair trade is what it is, and it undercuts the sales of people who are the original manufacturers of products that can only be guaranteed. Their safety liability can only be guaranteed when it's an original product. If it's a copy, it can't be. So these are also issues. So you can go to the blog and take a look at that. The West Wing reads, they're talking about securing southern border is President Trump's top obligation right now. and the apprehensions are skyrocketing. And they said they have more than 12,000 people in custody right now. So we have a lot of people criticizing the president as usual for this position that he's taking. But you know, the bottom line is illegal immigration has to be dealt with. It has to be under control. We have to get it under control. I'm honestly, you know, have to say that the Democrats have no platform. They had a failed Green Deal, which was no deal, and they really have nothing to run on. So honestly, they, you know, they know Americans aren't going to vote them in, so they're trying to get illegals to come in and trying to pass regulations to get them to vote. You know, folks, it's your country. What you decide to do with it is up to you. If you want to sit by and let people do these things, destroy our country, for goodness sakes, we have laws to kill babies. When is that abortion? When it's already born? That's the right to life. You know, folks, I'm sorry. Like, when do you have a right to life? When you're born? I mean, come on. We got to do something, people. Everybody's got to be part of this. Everybody. Do something. Anything. So this is what our southern border actually looks like. This is a 1600 daily, another report here. Here, there's a video which you can click on. Smugglers push children underwater to cross the border. They're really concerned about this. And of course, Secretary Nielsen explained how law enforcement has broken up these so-called child recycling rings. This is really horrible, folks. This is no way to live life. So we need to restore some dignity to people. And we can't be having people trafficked like this. Okay. NATO under pressure, under President Trump. So of course, you know, it was, today is the 70th anniversary of NATO. And so over the past 2 years, they have worked together with President Trump, and they've added $40 billion in defense investments with NATO. So that figure will reach about 100 billion. Here's as a photo of the president in that meeting right there with reporters and with the Secretary General. So, you know, the president's so busy every day. I mean, he's so incredibly busy. So I'll keep moving up. Nope. I think, is that it? Might be. I also want to show that this was our POTUS report from Monday. If you can't find our POTUS reports, you can always go to our blog and you can access the links here. Do you know that we are, I think, one of the most censored alternative media outlets on the internet? I have to say that. It's really, it's very severe. And I think there's going to be a lawsuit very quickly. Very soon, I should say. This has to be broken up. Facebook, this all has to be you know, YouTube. It's interfering in our ability to do business, our business, and so that's antitrust. And I think that they're under, you know, they're it is a platform, but it's a you know, until they start regulating the internet. I'm not even going to get into that conversation right now, folks. So this is what's going on. These are the press reads, and we will be back. We will be back probably on Friday with the next couple of days worth of press briefs, press release statements from the White House. And until then, folks, we hope you have a great night, and we will see you then. And this concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report. Thanks for viewing.